You guys have been showing me and telling me a lot about the snow happening in America, and just seeing how crazy the snow is in America compared to the UK. I'm excited to get into this video. We got the 10 historic US blizzards and winter storms. Appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button. Let's see what we got.
Blizzards and winter storms in general are underrated.
Right.
Tornadoes and hurricanes, they get all the attention.
True.
But massive winter storms, they can be just as dangerous and deadly, if not even more deadly than your more popular, more talked about natural disasters.
Okay.
Several blizzards and winter storms throughout the past few centuries have had crippling effects on large portions of the United States.
Damn.
Stopping traffic, taking out electrical grids, shutting down cities in some cases for weeks. And we're going to be discussing some of the worst of these blizzards and winter storms. In fact, we'll be going over 10 significant winter weather events in today's video.
Yo, look at that. I'm guessing, hold up. Oh, bless me, sorry. I'm guessing this is where the term snowed in comes from, right? Because I've always heard about the term snowed in. And I'm like, well, is it like a real thing? Because like in the UK, the snow, like you're not going to get snowed in. But I see on like, even on my Instagram, I see people from America saying, oh, I'm snowed in, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you ready though? But look at this, mate.
In today's video. Keep in mind, it's not all about snow accumulation. I know people love to talk about 50 inches, 60, 80, 100 inches of snow, and we are going to talk about that.
That's
but
crazy.
We're also talking about events that featured frigid temperatures, high winds,
Right.
whiteout conditions, and other wintry things.
This is going to be good.
Anyway, let's get on to the first event on our list, number 10.
Number 10, 2011 Groundhog Day blizzard.
So 2011 was a terrible year for weather as it featured several deadly tornado outbreaks, including the April 27th super outbreak.
Right.
But 2011 was also a pretty active winter for many. In fact, one particular winter storm turned blizzard claimed 40 lives. I'm of course talking about the Groundhog Day blizzard that occurred from January 31st through February 2nd. This winter storm had quite...
Wait, yeah, look, if it snows like this, you just can't do anything. You will have to stay indoors.
Groundhog Day blizzard
can't
that
go
occurred
work or
from
nothing.
January 31st
Look at that.
through February 2nd. This winter storm had quite the impact on a large portion of the United States, including states as far south as Texas and New Mexico, up
Right.
through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. Major cities within these states were shut down for days. For example, it's estimated that over 20 inches fell on the city of Chicago and its surrounding suburbs.
Oh, wow.
The highest accumulation of snow was measured in Annatoch, Illinois at 27 inches. On top of the heavy snowfall, there were also wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour.
Well, it's really, really windy out here this morning, and that's what's making this so treacherous. The blowing snow, the blowing wind. It's nearly a whiteout
Bro,
condition
look
when you
at
hit
that.
Take a look at this satellite image.
That right there literally looks like a snow tornado.
blowing snow, the blowing wind. It's nearly a whiteout condition when you hit.
Take a look at this satellite imagery taken just after the event. The Midwest is kind of looking like the planet of Hoth in this image. By the way, it wasn't just-
Are these lines the state borders? Are these lines really the state borders? What?
the Midwest is kind of looking like the planet of Hoth in this
That's
image.
mad.
By the way, it wasn't just the Midwest that was affected. Portions of New England and Canada were also struck by this blizzard. Connecticut, for example, received 10 inches of snow. Ice accumulation was a major problem for the Northeast, especially in New York and Pennsylvania. Check out this satellite time-lapse of the storm tearing across the United States.
Oh, wow.
Definitely a major storm system. Most of the fatalities were the result of car accidents or
Right.
heart attacks caused by shoveling snow, although there were a few cases of people who perished due to exposure and hypothermia. In the end, the 2011 Groundhog Day blizzard caused major problems from New Mexico all the way up to Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yeah, I bet driving in something like that would be terrifying.
And it remains one of the worst winter storms in recent memory. Moving on to number 9.
The Great Blizzard of 1996.
Next up on the list is another, kind of recent Category 5 blizzard, and that is the Great Blizzard of 1996.
Okay.
This blizzard was caused by a nor'easter slamming into the eastern United States from January 6th through January 10th.
Good evening, I'm Bill Butel. The snow has stopped falling, but it's going to be a very long time indeed before we can forget the power and the fury of the blizzard of 96.
Right.
New York and New Jersey are still under states of emergency, and we have a lot of information to bring to you tonight.
Now, if you live in New England or the East Coast, you've probably heard the term nor'easter. But
Right,
many of us,
okay.
including me, never heard that term growing up because
Never heard
we
it.
didn't live in the Northeast. So what is a nor'easter, you might be wondering? Well, a nor'easter is short for northeast. It's not called a nor'easter because they occur frequently in the northeast. The name actually comes from the wind direction. So during these events, the winds are actually coming from the northeast. These high winds are caused by an area of low pressure moving off the east coast. Now, some call nor'easters winter hurricanes because, well, they kind of look like hurricanes. And on rare occasions, they even form an eye. Here's a picture of a nor'easter
Oh my God,
off
look
the
at
coast
that.
of New York in 2018. And you can definitely see the hurricane-like aspects of it. That's because both hurricanes and nor'easters are cyclones, which is a blanket term for numerous types of low-pressure systems. Anyway, the big picture is that they are both crazy weather events and they can be very dangerous and very deadly. The Great Blizzard of 1996, for example, caused a staggering 154 fatalities. The most heavily affected state.
That is, bro, the car's buried. The car is buried.
States were Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Rhode Island, and New York. The max snow accumulation was
Yo, America is just like, the more videos I see of America's weather, the more crazy I just realize how the weather is in America. You got the big tornadoes, the big hurricane, the big storms. You got right now what's happening, the LA fires, which is just absolutely terrifying. Then you got all these snow blizzards and winter storms, and there's probably more stuff.
was measured at 48 inches in West Virginia. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston all saw up to 30 inches of snow, which essentially paralyzed these cities. Most of the fatalities occurred in Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. A large amount of deaths came from heart attacks shoveling snow. So people don't really realize this, but like, you know, if you're out there in the cold air and you're like in a hurry and you're going to town shoveling snow, you can easily overexert yourself and suffer from a heart attack.
Wow.
So just be sure to be safe. Be sure to get like your son to shovel the driveway. You don't need to be doing that. Go back inside. A very similar note.
Yeah, I think the main thing is this why you hear people all the time, like in terrifying situations, try your best to stay calm, right? And I know it's harder to like actually do that than say it, but stay calm, keep a level head, and think what is the best thing to do.
Nor'easter impacted the same area in 2016. In fact, this is the last Category 5 blizzard as of the making of this video.
Okay, 2016. Blizzard of 78.
Now, 1978 was a terrible year for winter weather. So was 1977 and so was 1979. But 1978 in particular was pretty bad because it features two entries on today's list. The first 1978 blizzard that we are discussing is the February 5th through 7th northeastern U.S. blizzard, aka the Blizzard of 78. This blizzard was caused by a nor'easter that impacted New England, most heavily impacting the states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Peak snow accumulation was measured at 28 inches in several communities in Massachusetts, including a record 27 inches measured in the city of Boston. Wind gusts were as strong as 111 miles per hour, making it one of the more powerful windstorm blizzards on today's list. It was almost like a little blizzard hurricane. There was even an observed eye within the cyclone. See that little eye right there? Pretty rare for a nor'easter.
Wait, the eye that we're looking at, is this right? This right here that it spins off?
So do you remember when Hurricane Harvey like sat on Houston and just poured rain on the city for days, causing massive flooding? That kind of happened with this nor'easter.
With snow.
It was a very slow-moving storm, and in some areas, snow fell for over 30 hours. Typically, nor'easters only drop snow for 6 to 10 hours. There were even some moments where there were 5 inches of snow falling per hour. The winter storm was so intense at times that it featured the rare winter phenomena of thunder snow, aka lightning during a snowstorm. See this situation? You do not want to be in this situation.
Yeah, that's crazy. How, you know, all these cars here, like what, how would he, the snow's falling on them. Did they just leave them? Because this is a road. You know what I mean? Like, how did they get stuck like this? Why would they not keep on driving? Or did the snow fall that quick, they just had to get out? Yo, either way, the fact that we're seeing this, these cars like this, that's scary, bro.
Sometimes if you're in the situation, by the way, snow can pile up so quickly that it blocks your tail exhaust pipe, leading to poisonous gas inside your car. In fact, 14 people unfortunately died on Interstate 95 from snow blocking their tailpipes during the blizzard of 78. Parts of Massachusetts were at a complete standstill for over a week. Cars were even banned, so many had to ski around just to get to places or use snowmobiles. In the end, most of the fatalities were from homes caving in, fallen electrical wires, or simply because a person got stuck and disoriented out in the blizzard and died of it.
That's the thing. Like, snow's very heavy as well. So yeah, homes cave. Oh my.
Electrical wires, or simply because a person got stuck and disoriented out in the blizzard and died of exposure.
Crazy.
Moving on to number 7. But before we get to that, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Manscaped.
Yo,
Gentlemen,
America's
it's officially
weather is
2025,
absolutely
and
insane,
you cannot be
man.
hanging into the new
It
year.
really is.
Thank you so much to Manscaped for sponsoring the channel.
Number 7, 1966, 67, Chicago blizzard.
So the next blizzard on today's list isn't focused on like a large area, but it's actually focused on a specific city, and that is the 1967 Chicago blizzard that occurred on January 26th into January 27th in 1967.
The windy city of Chicago is white as well as windy, battered by a furious winter storm which dumped 2 feet of snow across the Midwest. 68 deaths were traced to the blizzard. 10-foot drifts.
Yo, I'm loving the intense music they got behind this announcement.
2 feet of snow across the Midwest. 68 deaths were traced to the blizzard. 10-foot drifts were a common sight after the 29-hour snowfall which brought this giant city to a standstill.
Wow.
To this day, it is the worst blizzard to have ever impacted the city, with peak snow accumulation of over 20 inches. Now, the snow total might seem low compared to other entries throughout the video, but you gotta remember, this was a full-blown blizzard with whiteout conditions and sustained wind speeds of over 50 miles per hour. The crazy high winds caused massive snow drifts upwards of 20 feet high. It also started in the middle of the day.
Yo, honestly, other than living in this, other than like the devastating things that it causes, obviously people lost their lives, lost their, their homes broke and stuff like that. That's terrible about it. But like, yo, experience like the fun part of these. Like, I'm thinking like, imagine all this snow, because I just seen that kid, the picture of the kid right here, right?
Massive.
You could have like this is what like people in the UK like why we want snow to happen loads, right? Create like the slopes and stuff. That would be good. See, that would be fun for maybe, a week of a year, and that's about it. But the fact that like these guys live in it and it's stopping them from working and all that, devastating.
The snow drifts upwards of 20 feet high. It also started in the middle of the day when people were at work or at school, so people got stuck wherever they were. In fact, there were over 50,000.
Okay, when I'm saying like the fun part of snow, I don't think, no, not this bad. Yeah, these storms and blizzards are absolutely terrifying. But you guys are going through what are you guys going through right now? Because a lot of you guys are sending me a lot of pictures of like a lot of snow, very high up. A lot of you showing me some like slopes as well.
Abandoned vehicles throughout the streets of Chicago. Some people were stuck in their cars for several days and they had to seek shelter in nearby stores.
Wow.
Overall, there were 60 fatalities and it took 3 weeks to plow the streets. Truly a wild event for that city, and it's definitely established itself within Chicago lore with other.
Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy because like I'm from the UK, so anytime we see snow or anything, like we immediately think like, oh, okay, fun times, right? You go play in the snow, you go do whatever, you know what I mean? You don't actually think about how extreme it gets in America like this, where it will stop you from working, getting places, even trapped. Like, bro, it's crazy. You guys just get crazy, crazy weather, dude.
In nearby stores. Overall, there were 60 fatalities and it took 3 weeks to plow the streets. Truly a wild event for that city, and it's definitely established itself within Chicago lore with other events, such as the Chicago Fire of 1871.
Number 6, the Great Blizzard of 1978.
So number 6 is the other blizzard from that awful year of 1978, and that is the Great Blizzard of 1978, aka the Cleveland Super Bomb. This storm actually occurred before the other blizzard of that year. It occurred from January 24th to January 29th over the Ohio River Valley and the Great Lakes. The states that were most heavily impacted by the blizzard were Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Kentucky, and especially Ohio and Michigan, which both saw snow accumulations in the 40-inch plus range. Over 100,000 cars were abandoned throughout Michigan. Overall, 90 people would
100,000 cars
perished during the Great Blizzard of 78, with 50 abandoned throughout Michigan. Overall, 90 people would perish during the Great Blizzard of 78, with 50 deaths occurring in Ohio alone. The frigid temperatures proved to be the deadliest aspect of the winter storm, as 52 deaths were caused by negative 60-degree wind chills. The remaining fatalities were caused by car accidents and, again, heart attacks from shoveling snow.
I thought the majority of deaths would be the car accidents, because driving this would be a nightmare. I actually can't believe it popped up again, the heart attack with the shovel in snow. Hey, listen, if you guys are ever in a situation like this, hey, relax when you're shoveling snow. So many people are dying doing it.
The remaining fatalities were caused by car accidents and, again, heart attacks from shoveling snow.
Wow.
Now, this particular blizzard might not seem as bad as some of the others on today's list, but by the numbers, it's actually one of the most powerful weather events to ever impact the United States, with barometric pressure readings as low as 956 millibars. In fact, this blizzard produced the second lowest atmospheric pressure ever recorded over the continuous United States for a non-tropical storm. And for that reason, it makes today's list. But now we move on to number 5.
Number 5, the Great Lakes Storm in 1913.
Next up with number 5 is the Great Lakes Storm of 1913. To this day, this event is considered to be the worst natural disaster to ever impact the Great Lakes region, with an estimated death toll of over 250. The initial phases of the storm formed on November 6th and would last until November 10th. Essentially, this was like a mega winter hurricane blizzard on top of the Great Lakes. Just FYI, natural disasters and being on a boat on water, it's not a good scenario. You don't want to be in that scenario.
Oh,
During
yeah,
this
no
event,
way.
A ton of boats were out on the lake because, you know, they were doing trading and shipping and all that stuff that people do. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this winter storm hit, and there were whiteout conditions, snow squalls, super high winds creating massive 35-foot waves. It was a recipe for disaster, and a disaster it was. This massive winter storm caused hundreds of shipwrecks. In fact, every single Great Lake reported to have at least one major shipwreck. There's an entire list of shipwrecks from this event on Wikipedia. The ships that saw the highest death toll were the Isaac M. Scott, Charles S. Price, John A. McGean, and the SS Argus. The sinking of all these ships claimed 28 lives each.
Yo, is that the thing, like, with the ships? Like, there was no warning, it just came out of nowhere?
Some of these ships weren't even discovered until recently, and some haven't even been discovered to this day.
Oh,
of
wow.
course, it wasn't just the lake that saw terrible conditions. There was a lot of damage on land as well. The city of Cleveland, for example, received over 20 inches of snow, taking out all the power and paralyzing the city for over a week. The Great Lakes Storm of 1913 is definitely one of the worst winter storms in recorded history.
Number 4, the Great Blizzard of 1966.
Number 4 is the Great Blizzard of 1966 that occurred on January 27th through January 31st. This was indeed another nor'easter, and it heavily impacted a stretch of states from the central southeast all the way up through Canada. But
I genuinely can't believe how much snow I'm seeing right now. Like, it's actually mental. I didn't think I'd be seeing like this much snow. Like the most snow we get in the UK. I honestly don't think I've seen more snow than that height right here. In fact, half it.
Mainly impacted the states of Pennsylvania and New York. New York specifically saw some crazy snow accumulation of over 103 inches.
Bro, that's a snow tunnel.
Specifically saw some crazy snow accumulation of over 103 inches. That's an insane number that was caused by both a mixture of lake effect snow and the nor'easter itself. So you had a double snow system. Yeah, a lot of snow. Now, technically, this was only a Category 4 blizzard, not a Category 5, but it's still one of the deadliest in U.S. history, as it resulted in 201 fatalities. The freezing temperatures were likely the main factor in the high fatality rate for this winter storm. In fact, 40 of the deaths were fire-related when people tried sketchy ways to stay warm within their homes. Even in the southern states like Alabama saw record lows in the negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit range. Very cold. Moving on to number 3.
Yo, these are crazy. Great Appalachian Storm 1950.
Number 3 is the tragic Great Appalachian Storm of 1950 that occurred in the latter half of November in 1950. This storm was widespread, impacting literally almost half of the United States. It impacted 22 states, and this was the very first storm to ever be called the Storm of the Century. Now, this wasn't just a blizzard, this was a whole system that impacted different states in different ways. The system initially formed off the coast of North Carolina and then traveled up through the Appalachians into the Ohio River Valley and then slowly dissipated over New England into Canada. On the eastern side of the Appalachians, there was heavy rain and extreme wind. In fact, there were some wind gusts that were measured over 160 miles per hour. That's insane. The blizzard portion of the storm mostly occurred on the western side of the Appalachians, in places like Ohio and West Virginia. Peak snow accumulation was measured in Pickens, West Virginia at 57.
Yo, this is crazy, bro. This is honestly changing my mindset of like seeing snow. Like, what I've always said in so many videos, I always relate snow to like fun things. You know what I mean? Like, I've always said I want a snowy Christmas. It'd be amazing if the UK could snow a little bit more. I would enjoy it. I like it. It's satisfying to walk on and that. I don't know. I just like it, right? But seeing this video, seeing how bad it is, I'm actually putting myself in their shoes. Yeah, you wouldn't want to live through these. Nah. You wouldn't want the snow.
7 inches.
Crazy
Similar to the last
amount.
entry on this list, one of the more significant aspects of this storm were the record low temperatures it brought to the southeast. Places like Jacksonville, Florida dropped to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and temperatures in Birmingham dropped all the way down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Some have called the Great Appalachian Storm of 1950 the worst to have ever hit the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. It might not be the worst, that's debatable, but it's definitely up there.
Right.
In the end, there were 383 fatalities, making this winter storm one of the deadliest in recorded history.
Wow.
There were also major flooding problems that caused even more fatalities after all the snow melted.
Oh, yeah. Wait. I forget about that. Then the snow melts. And then it created a flood as well. Great Blizzard 1888.
Number 2 on today's list is the Great Blizzard of 1888 that occurred from March 11th to March 15th. This blizzard featured peak snow accumulation of 58 inches.
Hey, was there cameras in 1800s? Wait, when did camera first come out? Hold up. When did the first camera come out? Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, 1816.
The event resulted in a staggering 400 fatalities. Similar to previous entries on the list, this blizzard mainly impacted the Northeast, including the states of New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. People were stuck in their homes for weeks, and there were sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, creating snow drifts so high that they would cover entire homes. There were even snow drifts that were over 50 feet tall. Like a typical 2-story home is 25 feet. So can you imagine 50 feet? That's wild. It actually started off as a big rainstorm with temperatures around 30 to 40 degrees. However, as the system moved in, temperatures dropped to 8 degrees and the rain quickly turned into snow, and then snow fell for like the next 2 days. Pretty much every community in the Northeast had to stop for days on end.
Wow.
There were no rail lines, the telegraph lines were down, communication was impossible, the New York Stock Exchange closed for 2 days, something that wouldn't occur until Hurricane Sandy in 2012. It was quite the event. A large portion of the death toll came again from ships and boats off the coast that were caught off guard by the high waves and blizzard conditions, leading to them capsizing and eventually sinking. The Great Blizzard of 1888 remains, to this day, the deadliest winter storm in U.S. history.
Right, yo, these are crazy, bro. Number 1, 1993. Oh, a recent-ish one. A lot of you guys would experience this one. Let me know in the comments if you did and what was it like. The 1993 storm of the century.
And finally, number 1 is the 1993 Storm of the Century. This was a massive winter storm system that heavily impacted essentially half of the United States, from Florida and the southeast, through the Appalachian Mountains, up the east coast into New England and portions of Canada.
Lots of blowing and drifting still with that gusty wind.
We're looking at moderate blowing snow, and the winds are really fierce out here. The wind chills are down. I am really cold out here. And you can see that this is actually one of the smaller drifts. Behind me, 7 and 8 foot drifts.
To get an idea of the scale of this storm, take a look at this satellite imagery. This storm system is literally stretching from south of Mexico all the way up through Canada. Incredible. Peak snow accumulation occurred on Mount LeConte, Tennessee, with measurements up to 56 inches. This also had a low barometric pressure reading of 960 millibars, making it one of the more powerful systems on today's list.
Yo, it's crazy to think that, like, storms can be that big. But then when I think about it, like, Earth is tiny in comparison to other planets, and they have storms bigger than the size of Earth. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually, like, Mother Nature's crazy.
Overall, there were 318 fatalities, making it one of the deadliest, not only blizzard in the US, but weather events in general in recent memory. People were stranded in the Appalachians. They needed to be rescued via helicopter. Roofs had caved in from the thick and heavy snow. On top of all the snow, there was frigid temperatures. Birmingham, Alabama got 13 inches of snow. Birmingham, Alabama, that's like the South, got 13 inches of snow, which would be crazy I mean, that's like a bad snowstorm in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I'm going to take a crazy guess and say Birmingham, Alabama don't really see snow.
Crazy amount for Birmingham.
So sure you know just how bad this storm is. While Kevin was outside watching the anemometer in the office here, we had a wind gust of 52 miles per hour.
There was even a mini tornado outbreak embedded within a derecho with at least 11 confirmed tornadoes, all of them touching down in the state of Florida.
What?
The strongest was an F2 that actually claimed 3 lives. Now, while F2 tornadoes are considered significant, it is rare for them to have that large of a death toll. There's also massive flooding and storm surge in Florida. Some areas on the coast were under 12 feet of water. 47 people in Florida perished due to flooding. So really you have a massive blizzard, a derecho, a tornado outbreak, a storm surge similar to that of a hurricane.
That's
No
crazy.
wonder many have called it the perfect storm or the storm of the century. Now this may not have as high of a death toll as, you know, the historic blizzard of 1888, but it's a much more recent event and people were way more prepared. The fact that there was still a high death toll with this event just goes to show how dangerous it was. This is such a major winter event that it's impossible to properly cover it all in this video. It really deserves a video of its own.
Yo,
and I'm pretty sure there's already
crazy
several
weather.
YouTube videos about this event, and they're pretty good, so be sure to check those out. Now here's something that's rather intriguing. Some say that this massive weather storm system, storm of the century blizzard tornado outbreak, could have been caused by a volcanic eruption. Yeah, specifically the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo. This is due to volcanic ash and debris triggering a mini volcanic winter. Now, of course, a volcano is definitely not the only factor. There were many factors here at play, but some meteorologists do claim it could have played a pretty big role. Definitely one of the most significant weather events in the past 100 years, one that many will remember for quite some time. Have you ever seen that Stephen King miniseries called Storm of the Century? Whenever I hear about the 1993 Storm of the Century, I always think about that. It's really creepy, but it's kind of good. So there you have it. 10 historic, infamous U.S.
There we go, man. I know a lot of you guys will enjoy this one because a lot of you guys have been telling me and showing me pictures of the snow that's happening right now. I've been watching American videos for just about a year now, and I have learned that America's weather is absolutely crazy. I would always complain about the UK weather, but now I don't complain at all because our weather is so mild to you guys, it's not even funny. Our weather's just boring. It's like just raining and miserable and grumpy, right? Yeah, America's just extreme in all different ways. It's crazy to me, but very good video. Enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I do have 2 channels that you guys might not know about. I got a gaming channel and I got another reacts channel you guys would enjoy. Both links are in the description. Make sure you do go check them out. I'm also live every single day on twitch.tv/L3WG. You guys want to check me out over there? I'll see you on the next one. Peace.